Hi there, girls and boys, and welcome to another story time and nursery rhyme. And today I have Dumbo, and Dumbo is going to be my reading buddy for today. So, if you have a favorite blanket or a favorite teddy bear, go ahead and grab it and sit back and relax and enjoy the story. So, our story today is Frog and Toad Are Friends. So we're gonna go in and check with Frog and Toad and see what kind of adventure they're up to. So let's begin our story. Okay. One day in summer, Frog was not feeling well. Toad said, "You are looking quite green." "But I always look green," said Frog. "I am a frog." "Today you look very green, even for a frog," said Toad. "Get into my bed and rest." Toad made Frog a cup of hot tea. Frog drank the tea, and then he said, "Tell me a story while I'm resting." You see Frog and Toad? "All right," said Toad. "Let me think of a story to tell you." Toad thought and thought, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. Oh dear me. "I will go out on the front porch and walk up and down," said Toad. "Perhaps that will help me think of a story." Toad walked up and down on the front porch for a long time, but could not think of a story to tell Frog. Oh dear. Do you think we can help Toad tell Frog a story? Then Toad went into the house and stood on his head. Can you stand on your head? "Why are you standing on your head?" asked Frog. "I hope that if I stand on my head, it will help me to think of a story," said Toad. Toad stood on his head for a long time, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. There he is, standing on his head. I don't think I can do that. If I did that, I'll get very dizzy. Right, Dumbo? All right. Then Toad poured a glass of water over his head. "Why are you pouring water over your head?" asked Frog. "I hope that if I pour water over my head, it will help me think of a story," said Toad. Toad poured many glasses of water over his head. Oh dear. But he could not think of a story to tell Frog. He's having a hard time to come up with a story. Maybe we should help him, right? Then Toad began to bang his head against the wall. Ooh, that must be very painful. "Why are you banging your head against the wall?" asked Frog. "I hope that if I bang my head against the wall hard enough, it will help me think of a story," said Toad. I don't think it did. I think it just gave him a very bad headache. Ouch. Don't try that at home, girls and boys. "I am feeling much better now," Toad said. I do not think I need a story anymore." "Then you get out of bed and let me into it," said Toad. "Because I feel terrible," Frog said. Would you like me to tell you a story, Toad?" "Yes," said Toad, "if you know one." "Once upon a time," said Frog, "there were two good friends, a frog and a toad. The frog was not feeling well. He asked his friend, the toad, to tell him a story. The toad could not think of a story. He walked up and down on the porch, but he could not think of a story. He stood on his head, but he could not think of a story. He poured water over his head, but he could not think of a story. Ah, dear me. He banged his head against the wall, doing, doing, but he could not think of a story. Then the toad did not feel well, and the frog was feeling better. So Toad went into bed, and the frog got up and told him a story. The end. "How was that, Toad?" said Frog. But Toad did not answer. He had fallen asleep. Well, that was a very interesting story. So, join me next time for another great adventure and another great story. But before we leave, Dumbo and I would like to sing you a song. Dear Mother Goose, how she wanted to wander, but rise up above in a very fine gander. High in the sky, seagulls riding above, and everyone waved at the lady they loved, 'cause Mother Goose stories and Mother Goose rhymes make magical memories and wonderful times. How much is the elephant in the window? The one with the little feather in his nose. How much is the little elephant in the window? I do hope the elephant's not for sale. So, make sure that you girls and boys, when you read another book, imagine yourself as one of the characters in the book. And who knows what kind of adventure you might go on. So, from me and my friend Dumbo, we will see you next time. Bye now.